this Gregorian New Year's Day. Um, if you know what you know, the new year begins in the spring when things start to thrive and grow and come to life. But I'm not going into that too much today. I'm just going to be talking about why New Year's is celebrated on January the 1st, the history of it, talk a little bit more about the god Janus, and also a little bit of a recap of what happened in the year 2024. So we can partly thank the Roman king Numa Pompilius. According to tradition, during his reign, Numa revised the Roman Republic calendar so that January replaced March as the first month. So there you go. And that was back in 715 to 673 BCE that the new year was replaced, and March was technically the new year, which is the spring, but it was replaced with January as the new year. So, like I said, January is the first month of the Gregorian calendar, and January comes from the name Janus. So, Janus is a Roman god of passage and new beginnings. So, I'm going to read to you a little bit more about Janus. Janus is often depicted with two faces, one facing the past and one facing the future, allowing him to see simultaneously inside and out, backwards and forwards. He's also known to be holding a key, and it's a key which symbolizes his protection of doors and gates and other openings. All right. Is also associated with other dualities like life and death, beginning and ends, young, old, war and peace, etc. And so I've said all of that. And Janus is believed to have some Etruscan origins. Janus is also known as Lunas Pater, and that's about all that I'm going to read about Janus. But that just gives you a little insight about the Roman god Janus, or the Etruscan god Janus, and a little bit of the history of the word and how the new year began to be celebrated and observed in January versus in the springtime, which is between March and April sometime. Hi, Victor. Hi, Ahmad. Hello, Daniel. How are you all doing today? Gringo, how are you? Tomato, tomato, to each his own. Just bringing history. What you do with it, that's your problem. That's your choice. I'm gonna try to pronounce this kitten paws. Okay, good. How are you today? So I'm just going to show you guys what Janus looks like. Yep, that's just a little bit about what Janus looks like there. It has, or he has, a face facing forward and a face looking back, because again, his name means new beginnings, and he can also see forward and back, new and old. All right. But yeah, I just want to bring to you also a little recap of the year 2024, because so many people are observing the new year today. So with that being said, whether you know the truth or you know or not, you still have to abide by the way that most of the world operates. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and recap the 2024 year. So if you all know Cat Williams, he started 2024 off with a bang. And he said that a lot of truths were going to come out this year, and most definitely a lot of truths have come out. A lot of things have been uncovered. A lot of people have been uncovered. And at this point, there's no going back. You cannot put the cat back in the hat. And now that's a play on words, but The cat is out the bag, literally. So I look at things with a lot of spiritual meaning, and I look at who's bringing the information. I look at that person's name. I look at when they're bringing the information, and then I try to wait to see how relevant that person and when they brought it out, and if things actually came to pass, to see the deeper meaning and understanding of things. And his name, Cat, has a lot of spiritual meaning if you just dig a little deeper, and especially with the play on words I just did, as far as the cat being out of the hat. You can't put the cat back in the hat. The cat is out the bag. And with all of that being said, if you put that together with all of um, the tea that he let out at the beginning of the year, um, it's definitely something to look into, the fact that he was the one making those statements. And if you didn't see the interview that Cat Williams, the comedian Cat Williams, did with Shannon Sharp at the beginning of the year, I would suggest you go back and you look at it, and then you look at what type of year 2024 was, and you come back and you tell me about it. All right, Summer Edits, how are you? Can you say hi, Summer? Yes, I can. Hello, Summer. Hello, konnichiwa, hola, all of that. How are you today? On New Year's Eve, I told him I wanted to divorce, new beginnings. I hear you. Look, let me tell you something, because it's not literally the new year. If you know, you know, the calendars, the dates, everything has been changed so many times. As you see, the King Numa changed it back in 715 BCE. And then you had Julius Caesar that changed it to the Julian calendar. And then you have Pope Gregory, who changed the calendar again. So we are not in the day we think we are. We are not in the year we think we are, because you have leap years, you have all of these days being added and taken away. What you think you know, you do not know. We are not in the correct time. We are not in the correct day. We are not in the correct year, okay? Because people have been able to change time and dates just whenever they pleased. And it is what it is, right? So, like someone said earlier, potato, potato, gringo 9. You can say potato, potato all you want, but the truth is, none of us know truly the time that we're living in. We could be way behind, or we could be way ahead of the time we're actually in. All right. Hello, Pedro. Thank you for joining me. So, after Mr. Cat Williams let the cat out of the bag earlier this year, then you had all of the deaths of these celebrities. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can look up all of the celebrities that passed away this year and go from there. Also, this year, we had the continued war in the Ukraine and in Israel. Also, you had nations walk out on Benjamin Netanyahu when he was making a speech. I found that pretty interesting, for them to make such a statement like that. And you have the Kendrick Lamar and the Drake beef, and whatever you want to make of that. A lot of people said that that particular beef or rap war, whatever you want to call it, was a distraction. And it was. There are tons of things that are distractions, and it keeps us from the bigger picture. It keeps us away from true world news and world events that are truly going to affect our lives and the lives of our children in their future. And we're just distracted by these petty feuds and these petty things and social media that take our minds off of the big picture. And then you had the Baltimore Bridge collapse. So you had a barge that ran into the Baltimore Bridge and caused all type of havoc. Some people think it was intentional, but what do you say? What do you know? Then you had Hurricane Helene this year, which caused a lot of damage down here in the South. And my heart and thoughts go out to all the people who lost family members and are still living in devastation. Um, Actually, we are trying to get involved in Hurricane Helene cleanup and disaster relief efforts. And so they're starting to get in the cleanup and reconstruction time. And with that being said, it's a total rehab that has to be done in some of these towns and cities. So again, my heart goes out to them, and it's definitely going to be a work in progress that's going to take at least probably a couple years for them to get back to whatever sense of normalcy that they had. Um, then you had the longshoremen's. I know several longshoremen's because I'm from a city that is big and on the coast, and so I know some longshoremen, and they got a really good raise this year. All right, they had their strike. If you didn't hear about it, you can go in and look that one up. And the base pay went from $39 an hour up to $75 an hour. All right, so that is a substantial pay increase. Um, I'm not going to say that they don't deserve it. I'm sure that they do. Those guys work hard. They're out there all of the time. They're out there when we don't think that they're out there. And they work a hell of a lot of overtime, to be honest, because the United States is such a huge consumer that any business that is that surrounds the consumer industry or imports or anything like that, they stay busy. Just like you can see, the Amazon workers also went on strike, and they were protesting as well for better pay, because people like that in the consumer business, where they have to provide and mail out packages and things like that, they're almost always busy. So they deserve the increase. They deserve the pay. I do believe also that the Amazon workers deserve it as well, because those people are on their feet all day long. Um, they don't have the benefits or that we all think they might have or they should be getting. They're probably not getting that. All right. And then you have the puffy situation. Um, there's a lot to be said about that, but I'm not going into that on this particular live. It's all out there. It's not hard to find information about that. And it's a deep well. I can say that he's not the first, and he's not the last. Mayor Adams got indicted this year as well. Then you had all of the Trump lawsuits, and you had the Trump assassination attempt, and you had Trump getting reelected. So we're going to see what that all brings come next year when he's inaugurated in January. Then you have all of the African famines, which again is not new, but is still extremely sad. With Africa being probably the wealthiest continent on this earth, um, it's disgusting to see how some of the people there have to live, and while their countries are being robbed blind. Um, but the head becomes the tail, and the tail the head. All right, I'm going to leave that right there. Then you have all the DEI rollbacks. I'm going to leave that there as well. The head, the tail, and the tail will become the head. The USS Liberty. Now, that particular story was quite interesting, but it's nothing new. If you don't know the story of the USS Liberty, you can go and go read about that one. And then you have the United Healthcare CEO situation. Again, there's a lot to be said about that. I don't want to get myself into too much trouble with some of these topics. That's why I'm not going deep into them. I'm just briefly listing some of the things and events that happened in 2024. And last but not least, um, late in 2024, a woman was set on fire alive on a New York subway train. It was devastating. I felt so numb, and I fell in a disbelief while I was sitting there watching that. Like, there is video tape of this woman burning alive. At some point, she's standing up, and she's actually attempting to move or to walk. And you have to think about the mind frame and the mindset of people, because you just truly never know what is on the mind of someone. So this man was actually a Guatemalan illegal immigrant Not that that has to do with anything. I'm just saying, where it was from. But for someone to sit there and consciously set someone on fire and sit there and watch them burn and then actually fan the flames. This man was, he stayed, he didn't flee the scene, he stayed there and fanned the flames, which makes me think that there was some type of personal vendetta. I don't know what it could have been. I didn't really hear more about the story, but like that just seems so personal to sit there, to set someone on fire, to watch them burn, and then to actually fan the flames. Like there's definitely something going on mental there. But yeah, so that was just a recap of 2024, and that was a brief introduction to the god Janus and where the word January comes from and why the new year is celebrated in January at this point. So I hope that all of that was helpful for you all. And if you are celebrating the new year right now, I want to wish you all the best. I want to encourage you to be good to people because karma is coming around so much quicker. And I just don't want to be on the wrong side of that. Neither do you. Treat people right, speak to people right, do what you say you're going to do. If you don't want to do something or you don't agree with something, stand up for it. Stand up for people, stand up for the weak, stand up for children, stand up for people that cannot defend themselves. Do the right thing because you don't want to be on the bad end of that receiving stick when it comes back around. Again, I encourage you all to be good to people because death and recompense and restitution and all of those good things are not waiting any time at all. They're not waiting until the next generation. Karma is not waiting until the next generation. They are happening to people right now, and I'm seeing it in real time. I have seen people literally do my husband and I wrong. And within a couple weeks, we are seeing those people reap what they have sown. So, spiritually, I want you all to go and look into the number 24. I want you all to go and look into the number 25 and the spiritual meanings that these numbers have because we have to get back to paying attention to everything numbers, paying attention to names, paying attention to time, um, paying attention to original meanings and definition of things, and not taking it for granted. And if you are a Bible believer, I want you to get out of reading the Bible at face value. Go and dig into the history of things, dig into the context of things, dig into the original uh, language that things were actually written in because things often get misconstrued and lost in translation. The Bible, the King James Version Bible that we are all reading, is not the Bible in its original context. And a lot of the stories are misunderstood. And a lot of the things that we think we're doing right, we are not. Just like celebrating the new year at a certain time of the year. But yeah, that's just my recap. And again, a little bit about the month of January. I want to thank you all for joining me in this live, and you all be blessed. If you haven't already subscribed, I want to thank you in advance, and thank you if you already have subscribed. And feel free to leave your questions, your comments, and your concerns, and you all be blessed.